everyone, it is Teresa from Teresa's Silhouette Spot for all things art, where I love sharing art from my heart and encouraging joy through art. I'm going to show you guys a really easy tip to get some really bold stripes on the back of your designs. You ever see those paintings that behind them they have those really thick bold stripes? It's usually white and another color. I'm going to show you a really easy way with only a few items to get that effect in your background, okay? So you need some painter's tape, thickness of your choice, a paintbrush, and some paint, of course, to paint the stripes, a pencil, and a T-square or a ruler. If you do not have a T-square, a ruler works, and you can use that as well. So let me turn you guys around, and we will get started. So this is a 9x12 canvas, and I just want to find the center of it. So the center of it would be right here at the 6-inch mark, okay? I'm going to take my T-square, and this is why I love a T-square, because you can just butt it up here on the side of your canvas and get a straight line, okay? Then you want a piece of tape, roughly the width of your surface or whatever it is you're trying to make your stripes on. And I always start in the center, and I'll tell you why in a second. So you want to put this on here straight. So I'm going to get my T-square lined up here. You want your first piece of tape to straddle the line that you drew and be flat on your and straight on your surface. Okay, let me just make sure that's straight there. Looks good. Now this does not have to be perfect in any way. Just a simple trick for getting those bold stripes on to the background of your art. So I'm just going to lightly put my square up here or your ruler and trace in the first stripe. Now we want the first stripe to straddle the middle line. This is our middle line, and now we've outlined it, okay? And I start in the middle so we don't end up with a little tiny strip at the bottom. We start at the middle and we work up and we work down, okay? Now I'm going to take the same tape, but you only need a little piece because we're only using this as a spacer. I'm going to put it there, okay? Now we already have that line, so I'm going to come up here, I'm going to put my T-square flush against the side, I'm going to come up here to the top of my tape, and I'm going to draw in another line. Okay? Now we're going to just hop over. I'm going to take my big one off, I'm going to line it up to my tape, put it down. And we're just going to keep leapfrogging over our tape and our spacer until we get all the way to the top, and then we're going to work on the bottom. Okay, you always want to draw your line so you have the right thickness. Did that work? No, that didn't work. I was too much on my T-square. Put it out here a little bit more. It's hard to see what I'm doing. There we go. So put a line. I'm going to come back with my spacer, put it right there, and then we're going to do this one. And this is exactly why I said we start in the middle, because up here we're going to have a thin line up here, and we're going to have a thin line at the bottom. So I'm going to pull this up, and I'm going to come over here. I'm going to pull in my T-square. I'm going to go measure it all the way up to the bottom of my tape, and I'm going to add another line, okay? So now we have, let's say this one's going to be white, this one's going to be white, this one will be dark, this one will be dark. And then we do the same thing going down. So I'm going to put my little spacer there. I'm going to get my T-square nice and lined up to the bottom and draw a line. I'm going to get my tape again. I'm going to line it up on that line and the bottom of my tape, and then use this spacer again. Well, we don't need it yet. We're going to draw a line first. I'll get my spacer. Pull this up, and again, now we're to the bottom. We're just going to have a small space at the bottom, a small space at the top. That is why we start in the middle. Okay. Put this over. So dark, white, dark, white, dark, dark. Okay. I'm going to get out some of this blue paint. Ultra deep blue, but it's not actually not that deep. So I'm going to add a little bit of black to it. Okay. Just a little bit. A little bit of black goes a very long way. I'm going to turn my canvas because when I do stripes, it's easier for me to turn my canvas and pull them down instead of paint them across. And I'm just pulling my brush down the edge. I'm using the chisel edge right on the pencil line, running my hand along the bottom of the desk. And there we have our first stripe. Okay. And the same thing up here. This time we have to turn it though. So we have to do both lines. So I'm just flaring out. I'm using the edge of my brush and I'm going very slowly. You want to have a decent amount of paint in your brush so you don't have to keep going back for more. And I'm adding in that stripe. Then I'm going to turn my canvas. I'm going to get some more paint. And I'm going to go back. And now I can rest my hand again because the rest of my canvas is dry. And then we're going to fill it in. And now you can go back and you can do these stripes white. I probably will. I know there are people who sometimes leave it. I do not. Same thing. Going in this direction. My canvas is still dry, so I can run my hand down it. Makes it so much easier. Then I'm going to flip. Now I have to float up here. But I'm supporting my elbow on the table for a little bit of leverage. And then fill it in. Okay. Pick up some more paint. And like I said, then you can go back. You can fill in your other stripes with whatever color you want. For whatever you're working on. And then you have this really fun background to paint whatever you want on. Sunflowers, something nautical. Maybe you just want to trace a quote and paint on a fun quote. There's so many things you can do with this background once you have it on your artwork. Okay, and then last but not least, I can rest my hand again and pull down this last stripe. So it's important to start in the middle. It's important to use a spacer so all your stripes are the same width. And then you want to use some kind of a straight edge, either a T-square or a ruler. And if you see, I used the ruler for the flat edge. I didn't really use it for any measuring except at the very beginning to get the inside of, the measurement of the middle of my canvas. Let me turn you guys around. And there you go, a simple striped background. Follow for more.